So everyone, let me tell you a tale. Telltale's tale. Am I right? I know the guys that made The Walking Dead. I'm pretty sure they're dead. Aren't they just walking around dead now?
This is hurting. Stop it, please. Just stop.
We're back.
Just let it end.
All right. Do we have any more jokes? Not for now.
That's enough. Just let me.
We
Let's
might
talk
do
about
more
the
later.
news. Just
All
stop,
right,
okay?
Here you go.
Ladies
Talking
and
about dead companies. All right. I was like, I don't know what that is. Now he knows what that is.
Now I get it.
That was the final joke.
So,
Okay.
The Walking Dead from Telltale Games is obviously the point of reference here. Telltale Games, it's back. Or
In POG form.
Is it? In POG form?
This is great! And all I've done is enter my name!
Here we go. Pay us.
Look, Telltale Games obviously went bust in spectacular fashion last year. Very sad story for a lot of people involved. Today we got news, courtesy of Polygon, that it might be back. It's not quite the celebratory note that you might think it is. It's not like, hooray, Telltale has returned. It's actually much more complex than that. It's kind of this businessy sort of thing.
Could be an Atari 2.0.
It might be Atari 2.0. We don't know yet. Let's be optimistic but
Yes.
cautious.
Yes.
Let's talk about the detail after the drop.
So, guys, everyone knows what happened. A lot of gamers, okay, know what happened last year, right?
Really?
Telltale Games was making all the adventure-style games, like The Walking Dead. They made the Avengers. They made the Galaxy of the Guardians. They made a bunch of other ones. Batman. They made a few. They made a lot of big IP adventure-style games. Okay.
Yeah.
A bit like what was that one called? Also. I don't know.
The Hulk Incredible?
There
There
we
was the
go.
Hulk Incredible and...
Escape from Monkey
and
Island,
also
that
there was
style.
that man who was a spider, I think, as
Yes.
well.
Well,
No,
isn't he
okay,
in the
let's
Avengers?
actually
Oh, wait,
talk... Let's
he's
actually... And they didn't make an Avengers game. Let's actually talk about some of the games they did release.
Okay, cool.
Including The Wolf Among Us,
There we
and
go.
Minecraft, Tales from the Borderland. They did Game of Thrones.
Yes.
They did other stuff, right?
That's all Ralph had.
There's a lot. There's a lot. So look, either way, these guys were very prolific for their time. They came out of nowhere. Well, not quite nowhere, so to speak, but Walking Dead really put them on a map in a big way. And it was kind of like, wow, cool, adventure games. I remember these. And it really took us back to those days of playing like Escape from Monkey Island and those old LucasArts the LucasArts games. And we loved those. They were fantastic. But it was a dead genre that Telltale Games really helped bring back. They sort of revitalized it, and everyone was like, so glad they're doing this. They then sort of struck upon a formula with, The Wolf Among Us and with The Walking Dead that they really didn't evolve for a long period of time.
And when Ralph says a long period, ever.
It was
okay?
kinda like,
It
yeah.
was the same thing over and over again. It became
Yes.
a trend. It became almost like a meme. Like, there was no innovation whatsoever in anything that they were bringing
Well,
out.
not whatsoever.
Well, you
but
know what
it
I
was
mean, like-
very minor, and I
Exactly,
And I
yeah.
do think that they had a product that worked with The Walking Dead, and they're like, let's just do that again with different licenses.
Sure.
And eventually, I think players cottoned onto that, and they got a bit like, I'm not super loving all this new stuff that's coming out, and they got a bit bored of that formula. And then we're talking about an engine as well they used that never evolved, had a lot of limitations, it looked very clunky.
It looked like Fallout 76. Okay, that's when you know you're in trouble.
It did not
But
look like Fallout 76.
No. But like, look, I mean, they overstretched also. They obviously had an opportunity
Yes.
to work with a lot of IP. Maybe a lot of IP were approaching them, or they were approaching IP off the back of the success that they had with Walking Dead. I understand that.
Yeah.
So to overstretch in such an exciting time in that business, it's understandable because all this giant IP is at your fingertips. It did come at a cost though, because either stuff just never came out,
Yeah.
or it just, the quality or the innovation was never there.
For sure. I remember a time back in like 2017 where it felt like Telltale Games were making all the games for all the licenses.
Yes.
Like every week there was like another announcement from Telltale being like, yes, we are working on The Boys, The point is that like they just overstretched, and that was sad obviously because like they were clearly very ambitious and optimistic and they wanted to hire more people and grow, but they weren't keeping up, and eventually it all came crashing down in spectacular fashion.
And we only found out actually when it all came crashing down. There was
Yeah.
no like, hey guys, letting you know, there's some issues here, you know, a 6-month kind of trajectory of like where things might go. It was like, guys, we're letting go of 250 people.
Yeah.
250 people lost their jobs. They didn't get their severance packages. They didn't get their health care. A lot of stuff just wasn't actually delivered.
Yeah.
And of course, it jumped in the news. You know, a lot of people covered it because not only were all these people out of a job, but at the same time, once a very healthy, successful company was just kind of gone.
Yeah,
you know?
It actually spawned a class action lawsuit from the employees who felt as though they were not given appropriate amount of notice and they were not given their proper benefits for, you know, being made redundant. That's still ongoing, obviously, and that lawsuit is happening against the original sort of executive directors of Telltale. It's got nothing to do with these new people. So I guess that's a good point to make as we segue into this announcement today.
Yes.
Where Polygon reports that Telltale Games is back, but it's entirely new in almost every single way. Here's some of the detail. Telltale Games, which was shut down last year, is being revived after its assets were purchased by a company called LCG Entertainment. The new company will sell some of Telltale's back catalog and will work on new games based on a few Telltale associated properties as well as new licenses. The new Telltale is headed up by Jamie Otley and Brian Waddle. Otley said that some workers from the original Telltale Games will be offered freelance roles with full-time positions possible in the future. Now it goes on to specify that the two guys who made this purchase were not working at Telltale in the past. They've had a career in games, but not specific to Telltale Games.
I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, though.
No,
I mean,
it's
a fresh
fine.
set of eyes can be very beneficial here.
For sure. And it's also involving Athlon Games. They're the publisher in the deal, and they've got financial backers, including various industry game figures like Chris Kingsley from Rebellion, Lyle Hall from Heavy Iron Studios, and Tobias Jorgren, formerly of Starbreeze.
Yes.
So obviously there's quite a few people in the mix here. All of them have experience in the games industry. That's cool, but I think the key sort of sentence within that is that Telltale staff will not be offered jobs. They will be offered some freelance positions, and they have a chance to get jobs in the future if everything goes well.
I think that's perfectly reasonable. They're bringing on they're taking on this company. They're wanting to get the previous workers involved, which is great. They can only, at the moment, offer them freelance roles, and then hopefully it does develop into full-time work. That's great, but for them to really come out and say, we're definitely giving them full-time roles, they've got no idea of the potential success of the IP that they're buying. They've got no idea of the current, position that they're in terms of their hiring power. I understand this. I do.
It's also important to note that this office now will be based 400 miles away from the previous office locations.
Yep.
So I'm sure a lot of people that worked at Telltale live near to Telltale, and they're not, unless they're willing to relocate. That's
Hence
gonna be
why
tricky.
they might be doing some freelance stuff.
Well, yeah, you can work
Potentially.
remotely with this sort of stuff. Who knows? But
Yeah.
the other thing as well with all of this is that, they've talked about the fact they do want to make new games, and that's encouraging, obviously. Right now, their focus is on sort of selling their back catalog, the stuff they have the rights to, like The Wolf Among Us, and they've got Batman, they've got a few sort of their own like Telltale original IPs as well. A lot of the stuff they don't have rights to anymore, like The Walking Dead, for example, like Stranger Things, like Game of Thrones, like all the stuff they were working on, they don't have that right now.
A lot of the strong IP.
Yeah,
really,
exactly.
So off the back of that, they have said that they are going to be continuing to do episodic games. So we're probably going to see similar content to what we've previously seen. But like, what does this mean for the actual workers that have worked there? What does this mean for the the gamers in general? Well, first and foremost, I look at this and go, a lot of people that are looking for a Wolf Among Us, sequel or the next episode, they're maybe gonna see this kind of stuff.
Well, this is where I think we need to be cautious because, just because a company's rights get bought up doesn't mean that we're going to see, it's like, hey,
Sure.
business as usual, off we go. I think one of the most classic examples is Atari, where everyone was like, yeah, we love Atari and it's the best, and oh, cool, Atari's back, and they've always tried to ride that nostalgia train. The reality is the people who bought the Atari franchise have no passion or desire whatsoever to make Atari a thing again. They tried to launch this really scammy sort of wooden console recently that just didn't end up coming out.
It's not out yet. I don't know when it's coming out.
It's not coming out, man. They tried to
Next
kickstart
Earthworm
it.
Jim. Okay, it's coming out.
They've done a lot of shady shit at that company. So just because you see an old, entity return under new management doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be all smooth sailing from there.
Yeah.
I do think it's encouraging to see this happen. I would love to see new Telltale games. I would love to see old Telltale workers get their jobs back
Yes.
and find the security that I'm sure many of them are lacking right now. But I do think it's very, very early on in the piece to be sort of like, clapping our hands and ringing victory bells.
Based on the evidence that we have, or the information that we have, we can assume at least that they would probably want to be working on the strongest IP that they just bought. Naturally, if they're looking to make this a successful venture, A Wolf Among Us, it definitely looks to me that they would potentially work on that. Fine. So in terms of the gamers, hopefully they see some of the content that they love and know from Telltale Games. Secondly, hopefully the workers do also get their jobs. It's great to see that they are offering freelance roles to these guys and girls, of course, and women. And I hope that this continues to see them getting full-time positions, and a lot of the damage that was done hopefully can be slightly repaired over the next few months or years. Who knows?
Yes. We will see. We will keep you posted on how it all goes. But
Yes.
either way, good luck, new Telltale Games. I hope you guys do well. Hope it
And
all
please don't
works
bring
out.
a console out,
No
a
consoles.
Telltale console that
Their
never
first-
comes
their
out.
first IP will be Anthem, the episodic story. That'd be. I'd
I
buy
would play that. I would
buy
love
that.
to see that. Okay.
you
Goodbye,
guys.
everyone.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.